Hi everyone, we are here today outside of Golden Gate Fields horse racetrack. It's right behind me. If you can see the sign, this area is the stables where the horses are kept. And the racetrack.
Can everybody hear me on the far end?
I'm going to turn it around and show you Paul's briefing.
I'm just going to give a quick briefing. My name is Paul Darwin Picklesheimer. I'm an organizer with DXC SF Bay Area Protest Team. Let's turn up a little bit. My pronouns are they, them, and I just want to thank y'all for being here on a cold, windy day. It can start dumping rain on us at any time. We do have umbrellas there. But just a few things before we get into our protest. Just the thing we say a lot, people are giving us honks. We're a non-violent group, and so just first and foremost, if anybody
getting some support over there, Curtis is giving out leaflets as well.
We get a lot of support of honks, but we've had people throw eggs at us and all kinds of things. If that starts happening, don't send that energy back to them. Just be here to do what we're here to do, which is to peacefully memorialize these horses who have lost their lives over the course of the year. We don't want to get into arguments with anybody like that. Now, somebody might have actual genuine questions and want to talk. So for that, we've got Curtis across the street who's doing outreach. So if anybody's really trying to talk about something, we can call Curtis over and do that. I'll be the police liaison today. So if the police come and want to talk to anybody, don't talk to them at all, ever. At DXC Actions, just direct them towards the police liaison. So today, that's me. And
thanks, Shrestha, for your support.
Other than that, just please try to be safe. Be mindful of traffic. Susie's going to be with Michelle, making sure that.
And thanks, Michelle.
Taking pictures, someone's being careful for that, and Diana's doing some safety at the other end. If press shows up, Tonia's here to be our press liaison, so you can direct the press to Tonia. And otherwise, yeah, thank you so much. Thanks in advance to Jacob and Jordan who are going to do a speak out today. And I'm just gonna, what we've been doing here, we've been, signing a couple ahead of time and letting the other ones fill in. So anybody who would like to say some words today, I encourage you to think about it a little bit now, and we can pass the mic to you. We'll also be inviting people to do chants too. So if you'd like to do chants or speak, please let us know. Something else that we're going to try to do today, if you're holding a tombstone and you look down and you see a name on it, chances are that name is not the most dignified name in the world. And horses are bred into existence to be capitalized.
So the public is driving by at this busy intersection in Berkeley, and we have this sign letting them know that at this facility horses are raced to death, and we also have tombstones with the names and death dates of the horses who died here in 2022. 15 horses died at Golden Gate Fields in 2022. Today we're doing a memorial protest honoring all of their lives and fighting for the hundreds of horses who are still confined here at this factory farm in Berkeley.
Place somebody on your tombstone. Later on in the action, we'll actually take tape and tape out their old name and put with new markers, put their new name, and we'll note that down. And we'll just keep a running record from this day forward of everybody whose name we changed because unfortunately they died here. So just a couple overviews about this place. So 2022 is in the past now. 15 horses were killed here in 2022. So more than once a month, somebody gets their life taken, raced to death, literally. And it's very terrible. If you went to Berkeley City Council or Albany City Council and said, hey, let's start betting on dog fighting, like just one fight per month. And would that be okay? Because y'all are okay with killing one animal per month at this place for entertainment and gambling, so why not dog fighting? I think they would say hell no, and I'm hoping they'll say hell no to this place eventually. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of barriers, but we're going to fight hard and try to close this place down over time.
Thanks so much to everybody who's watching and supporting. Peggy, that's a really cool font. I'm not sure how you use that, but that looks really cool. And if people who are watching could share this live stream and help us reach more people, that would be great. We want to get the pressure up as high as possible to get this place to shut down.
I'm not okay with that whatsoever, but it just so happens that on top of that, this is one of the worst places in the United States. Only 5 had more deaths this year. West of the Mississippi, only 1 track had more deaths this year. So this is a very deadly racetrack, and we really hate that it's here in our backyard.
Thank you, Christopher and Dino and Ben.
With that said, I'm going to pass it off now to Jacob to do our first speak out.
You can also sign the petition to shut down Golden Gate Fields. The short link for that is dxc.io/shutdownggf. And sharing this live stream. Those are both really easy ways to help us with this campaign.
Wake up. A pitch black stable surrounds you. Stand for a moment on hay grass leached with day-old urine and feces. the only reminder of your life. Move, but face the jail cell that is your thrall, with an opening, but a slit, to hang your face over so they who break you can administer jack-upping drugs and just enough food to brutally tailor your body for a race. You hear the signs of distress from your friends, the collapses, the sways, the wind sucking, as if the only life they can find is in wind-borne vigor, as if the brush of wind is the only reminder of freedom. You hear, but you cannot see. You cannot see these fellow horses, but on the track on which your back is blood-blackened with whips, with whines of electrocution, so you see stallmates as enemies, not kin. When you see another horse at all, in those few minutes not in a stall, you may feel joy at first, but they will break your joy. Golden Gate Fields will break your joy and make it aggression. They will cover any semblance of personhood with a mask until you are no longer a life to those that watch and cheer, but a cheap toy spinning around a track, due to crack at any moment. The life of a racehorse, the winners and losers alike, is misery. For example, Mugaritz, as Golden Gate Fields called them, was a winner. Placed first in nearly half of their races. They were, to Golden Gate Fields, a star. While appearances of Mugaritz were shrouded with the chokehold and mask shackling down their back, when I see Mugaritz mere photos, I see a life. I see a being with strained eyes, with legs that can hardly hold themselves up anymore. Golden Gate Fields do not lie. You claim welfare for racehorses once their yoke is broken, but even the winners die. Even the winners suffer as Mugaritz did. Even on January 16th, almost a year ago, their life was not theirs anymore. You took it, Golden Gate Fields. You stole it before it could be lived. You fractured and ruptured the poor heart of the creature before it could beat with the ecstasy of being. Mugaritz is also, apparently, a famous Michelin star-rated restaurant. A restaurant one can assume the horse was named after. Unsurprisingly, one of their top-tier dishes is horse cheek. Or the dead flesh of what was once a horse's life, under the knife of human greed. Even before the horse stood, they were branded for death. That is the case for all horse racers, though. If not dead mid-race or from sheer exhaustion, they are shipped off to be slaughtered for meat. The horses bear no fruit of their forced labors. There is only cut-up flesh. Golden Gate Fields, meanwhile, harvest hundreds of thousands of dollars from their short-lived existence. To me, Mugaritz is not a Mugaritz, is not but a horse cheek destined to die in the mouth of a human. To me, they're a Vivian instead. Vivian means life. It means alive, because even though they no longer live, Vivian lives on in my heart, lives on in the hearts of all with the empathy to fight for you, Vivian. Vivian, you survived but a moment of the 30 years you could have lived if just given a chance at freedom. Every day you fought for your life, Vivian, but now you can rest. Rest knowing that the air you could not breathe on the racetrack is the air, the free air, that your soul still lingers in today. In 2022, 15 like Vivian died at the track I stand in front of, Golden Gate Fields. I hope the self-same air of Vivian and all who fought carries my voice and the collective voice of activists to freedom. The only path to the freedom of life is the death of Golden Gate Fields. Shut it down. Woo! Woo!
Golden Gate Fields!
So that was a really powerful and poetic speak out from Jacob, who writes poems and does some incredible speeches at actions like this one. And as you heard, he renamed Mugaritz, the horse who died in January of last year, Vivian. And part of what we're doing today that's different than what we've done at our other memorial protests, we're getting more honking, which is awesome. There's a ton of support. That part is consistent. at all the protests that we've been doing here recently is we've been getting a lot of support and raising attention in the community about the horses and how common they are dying here at this track. But what we haven't done before is give the horses new names, and their names that they're given by the industry that raises them to race are very degrading, understandably, given that they're being objectified in this industry. They're being raced not for their health, not for their fun, but for profit, for this industry that's owned by Canadian billionaires. The Frank Stronach, who's the patriarch of the Stronach family and the Stronach Group that owns Golden Gate Fields and other horse racing tracks here in the U.S. They're being raced for profit, and so they are not treated like individuals who deserve safety or health care or freedom. They're treated like objects who are only good for racing. And when they can no longer race, including in some cases because they get injuries during racing or during training. Thank you. We're getting, I don't know if I showed you them, but we got a big thumbs up and honks. When they sustain injuries during racing or training, they're killed. They're vanned off and killed, and that is reported on the California Horse Racing Board website, where we keep track of the horse deaths here. In 2022, 15 horses died at Golden Gate Fields, and that's actually down from how many died the previous year. But that's not enough, that's not... the progress that we want isn't just for the horse deaths to go down. 15 deaths is still 15 too many. The horses who are dying here are individuals. Vivian was one of them, and she deserved so much better. All of them deserve better. They deserve freedom. They deserve to be running free at their own free will and resting when they want to rest, and certainly not killed if they get sick or injured, but given treatment, given care, just like we want for humans, just like we want for our companion animals at home, just like every living being wants and deserves. So that's what we're doing out here today, is we're having a memorial protest for all 15 of those horses who died here last year, and we are reaching out to the public, getting a lot of support. We've been protesting here many times. We've started protesting very consistently every time a horse dies. And this protest is not in response to a specific horse dying recently. It's in response to all 15 last year. And we're going to be, later on in the action, so stay tuned, we're going to be renaming them. So you already heard Vivian's name was given to her. And we're going to be renaming the other 14 horses who died here last year. And keeping those names for future protests, to continue to tell their stories, to continue to say their names and honor their lives, and really personify the individuals who die here, even though the industry tries to objectify them in every way, in the way that they live, confined in these stables that are right behind me, and in the way that they're named and what they're called. And so we're going to be renaming them today, and I hope you'll share this and help more people hear about Golden Gate Fields and about the horse racing industry, and see some of the beautiful ways that we can honor their lives.
Horses desire freedom. Horses deserve freedom.
Just like us.
Horses fear death.
Just like us.
Horses feel loneliness.
Just like us.
Horses feel misery.
Just like us.
Horses feel happiness.
Just like us.
Horses deserve freedom.
Just like us.
Horses deserve to live.
Just like us.
So we're out here in Berkeley. This horse track spans Berkeley and Albany. It's massive. We're calling on both those cities to shut this place down.
Now, I have the tombstone of a horse that was named Johnny Down the Street. They were killed October 1st, 2022. I have decided to rename the horse Camden, which is a Scottish word meaning winding valley, which I'm sure that if there's a spirit world for animals, they are like running through the wild valley. Now, we all talk about the abuse that horses face, but while this whole abuse is happening, there's also a human suffering element. We're exploiting animals so that way we can feed people's gambling addictions. And of course, alcohol addictions as well, because they have cheap alcohol here to loosen people's inhibitions so that way they bet more on this violent sport. And I would like nothing more than this toxic site to be shut down and all the horses put in sanctuary, because this is not fit for a sanctuary for horses. And then of course we should destroy all the buildings, sage the area, clean it up, and turn it into permanent supportive housing. There's so many homeless people out here on the fucking streets right now that we need. This would be a much more suitable site for that than a place of violence. I want to see hope and healing, especially for Camden and all the other horses who have passed away or are suffering, because it's not entertainment.
It's violence!
It's not entertainment.
It's violence!
It's not entertainment.
It's violence!
And anyone else want to do chants? Anybody want to do chants?
Kitty's gonna
Love
resume
is
chanting.
unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable.
It's really loud when I walk by this speaker. I hope it's not too loud for you all, but it's great that we can be that loud and reach a lot of people.
The truth is unstoppable.
And so as you just heard from Jordan,
Compassion is
we have another
unstoppable.
horse. Johnny Down the Street was their previous name, but now their name is Camden, and that's how we're going to remember them. And we're getting some smoke flares lit here. I'll turn it around.
Unstoppable. The truth is unstoppable. Their lives, their freedom, their bodies, their babies, their lives, their freedom.
And we're getting some video here that we can share with press,
lives,
because a lot of the times the
their
TV stations
families,
aren't able to send someone out
their
to
babies.
the protests that are happening when there's a lot
Horses
going on,
want to
but
be
they do
free.
use our footage later on to air
Horses
a segment on
want to be
TV.
happy. Horses suffer. Horses feel love.
There's a horse right now who's being transported
Horses
from
love their
Golden Gate
babies.
Fields. I can see them in there,
Horses want to be free.
and the person in the car in the
Horses
passenger
deserve
seat is
to be
filming our
free.
protest.
Horses deserve to be happy. Horses deserve to live. One struggle, one fight.
I hope that horse knows that we're out here fighting for them.
One struggle, one fight.
I wish that we could go up to them and show them some love and compassion
One
and
struggle, one fight.
show them how much that we care and how we're fighting for them and all their
one
siblings.
struggle, one fight.
Well, not all siblings, but
Profit is no excuse.
all the others who are there with them.
Money is no excuse. Tradition is no excuse. Culture is no excuse. There is never an excuse.
Thank you, Anna, for watching from Israel and for supporting. Thanks to everybody who's leaving comments and who's sharing.
Behind us is a sign which reads Golden Gate Fields, where the bay comes to play. But this is not the whole truth. People come to play, but horses come to die. And this is a symbolic place of violence, and that's not all it is. It is a place where death happens every single day. Just today, I finished reading a book about a concept called Wetiko. It's a Native American saying which talks about a collective mind parasite which manifests as evil. And this behind us is an evil. And one of the ways in which Wetiko, the mind virus, is said to manifest itself is by doing evil yet disguising it as good. And just as we got here to this protest, an ignorant man, and I say he's ignorant because what he said is not true, and it is very naive. He said, horses love to run. You guys are wasting your time. And you can see how this collective mind virus has infected us all to think that what we do to animals is good for them. These horses love to run, but what he doesn't understand is that they also love to live. Animals love to live. And the idea that anything humane can happen to animals when their lives are being profited off of is a lie. And if we care about the truth, if we care about fighting this collective mind parasite that is infecting us all, what we have to do is face it. Face the evil that we have subjected millions and billions of animals to. Even us as animal rights activists, We come out here not because we are good people, but because we are a part of a species that is subjecting the most innocent beings to the most horrific atrocities, and it is our moral obligation to be here. We have to face the evils that we are doing so we can fight this mind parasite that is taking us all, that is eventually going to kill us all. But there is a way out, to confront it and to look at it and to say we don't need to do this anymore. We don't need to subject animals to this horror. We need to help each other, including humans. And my friend Jordan over here made a wonderful point that what's happening behind at Golden Gate Fields isn't just horrible for the horses, but it's also feeding addiction and alcoholism. And that's not what we need. We need to move toward a society of care and compassion and health for all living beings. Thank you.
That was Priya speaking out.
Just like us.
Trying not to
want to live.
step on this little dog who's here at our
Animals
protest.
feel pain.
Just like us.
Animals feel
They're wearing
joy.
their raincoat because
One
it's been
struggle,
incredibly
one
rainy and
fight.
stormy here at Golden Gate Fields. And despite that,
One
Golden Gate
struggle,
Fields is
one
not canceling
fight.
the games that are happening, or I should say
Their
the
bodies.
death races. They're not really games.
Their
They're
lives.
very violent and scary for the
Their
horses.
children.
But they're not canceling these races today
What do
or
we
tomorrow,
want?
despite the storm and flooding that's
When
been
do
going
we
on in the
want
Bay
it?
Area, and that it's
Are we
predicted
going
to
to
rain
fight
today
for it?
and tomorrow. Right
Are
now,
we
it's
going
not
to
raining.
get it?
It was
What do we
briefly,
want?
got out my umbrella, but it actually stopped.
When do
so
we want it?
we're not getting wet
Are
out
we
here,
going to
but
fight for
we've
it?
been protesting out here
Are we going
consistently
to
every
get
time
it?
a horse dies,
What do
and
we want?
sometimes that means being out here in the rain.
When do we want
And we
it?
choose to do that in solidarity with the horses because they're
Animals
forced to race
feel
in the rain
pain.
as well. They're forced to race regardless of the
Animals want to
conditions. When it's
live.
hot, when it's cold, they don't get any
Animals
consideration
feel joy.
for their comfort. And the
Animals have
races last
families.
weekend actually were canceled temporarily. Some of them were canceled, but it wasn't because of the horses' well-being. It was because of severe flooding on the track
It's not
and just the inability to actually make the race happen. So that's the kind of extreme conditions it takes to get these races stopped, unfortunately, which just shows you that they want to race at all costs. They want to race no matter what because they want to make money, and that's the goal of this facility. And I'm going to walk down here again and show you the other side of the protest where we have our new sign.
Animal liberation.
When do we want it?
Now.
Shut them down! Shut them down!
We're at a busy intersection here, or
Shut them down.
traffic off-ramp and intersection, so there's a lot of people driving by who are seeing our message here to shut down Golden Gate Fields and also rest in peace. Horses are raced to death here because a lot of people don't realize that. Like Priya was saying, people sometimes think, oh, horses love to run, and so what's wrong with racing them? And besides many things that are wrong with that, like being forced to race when you don't want to, not getting fed a healthy diet, but just a high-starch diet that is prioritizing your speed over everything else. Also, it's very relevant to point out that horses also want to live. So I thought that was a great response that she made, that horses want to run, well, they also want to live. And what's happening here is not just that they're running, it's that they're being raced to death. They're dying either in training, in the races themselves, or just by sustaining injuries that then lead them to no longer be able to be raced and no longer able to win these competitions, and so they're sent to be killed. Instead of just getting care that could easily treat their injuries, they could easily recover and still live very happy, long lives.
Oh, because their bodies,
Not ours.
their lives,
Not ours.
their families,
Not ours.
their autonomy. Do not buy Golden Gate Fields lies.
Animals do not want to die.
Do not buy Golden Gate Fields lies.
Animals do not want to die.
Let's
If you
let
all
the
have any
horses
questions
ride.
for us, feel free to put them in the comments and
What
I'll do
do
my
the
best to
animals
answer.
want?
I also wanted to say again that a couple
What do
ways
we
that you can
want?
help is one, sharing this live stream
What do the
and
horses
commenting
want?
on it, engaging with it, helping more people see
Are we
it.
gonna
Thanks to
fight
everyone
for
who's
that?
doing that. And also,
Are
if
we
you
going
haven't
to-
already,
Are
by
we going to
signing the
get that?
petition to shut this horrible place down, which is at
One struggle, one fight.
dxe.io/shutdown-GGF. GGF,
One
just
struggle,
short for
one
Golden Gate
fight.
Fields. And we've already got tens of thousands of people
Same
signing on,
struggle,
including
same
many
fight.
residents of the East Bay. This track is
One
on the land of
struggle,
both
one
Berkeley
fight.
and Albany. And there are sympathetic
'Cause it's
people
not
in the city
entertainment.
councils of both Berkeley and Albany who would like to
It's
see this
not
track shut
entertainment.
down and would like to see this land used for
It's
something
not
better,
horse
like
racing.
permanent supportive housing like Jordan threw out, or public parks, or anything really would be better than using it for death racing. But they unfortunately feel like they're blocked from being able to do that because horse racing is protected and enshrined in the California Constitution. So what that means is technically the cities themselves aren't allowed to ban horse racing. But banning horse racing, as great as that would be, isn't the only way that we could shut down Golden Gate Fields. And we're still keeping the pressure on Berkeley and Albany to make it happen through other ways.
There was a horse racing track.
Turn it around now and
right
show
in
you
my
Almira.
backyard. For years, I had no idea. And I bet that a lot of other people have the same ignorance about what is going on in their own backyard. But the reason for that is not because people don't want to know, it's because Golden Gate Fields does everything to try to hide the truth about what goes on here. They don't advertise that horses are dying at their track. And when we try to elevate this issue, when we try to tell Golden Gate Fields truth out into the public, they silence us. They sue our organization and they sue individuals because they don't want us talking to the public and they don't want us exposing what's going on. Just yesterday, on public property, or right on the highway there, people put up pictures of horses, 15 of them, to mark the 15 horses that were killed at Golden Gate Fields. This isn't Golden Gate Fields property where these horses were. It was on the highway so that the public could see those 15 horses and their names with a banner that said, "Horses killed here." So less than 24 hours after those were put up, they were taken down early this morning. I can only assume by people at Golden Gate Fields. They're trying to make sure that people do not know what is going on here, that people do not know that horses are being killed. When we elevate this issue, when we get it in the press, when people take action against these horses, they sue us. They sued 4 people in our organization, and they sued our entire organization for putting a petition. For putting a petition on a website and for showing videos on our Facebook page, because they do not want people to know the truth.
This dog really wants the cord.
And every single time we come here, they have their staff members who are just doing their job, filming us, counting how many protesters there are, reporting back to headquarters, filming all of the protests, just to document what's happening, instead of actually taking the time to maybe do something about the violence that is going on at this facility. So Golden Gate Fields is trying to shut us up. They don't want you to know. And I think it's so telling that when a company doesn't want you to know what is going on, that there's something really bad going on behind the scenes. Because if they were proud of what they were doing, they wouldn't be afraid of the media attention. They wouldn't be afraid of the outreach. They wouldn't be afraid of the actions because they wouldn't have anything to hide. But they do have something to hide. And we're not going to stop taking action. We're not going to stop reaching out to the media and putting this stuff on social media and doing outreach to the public until Golden Gate Fields is shut down and every horse racing track in the United States is shut down and all animal exploitation is ended. Because it's not entertainment.
It's violence.
It's not entertainment.
It's violence.
It's not family fun.
It's violence.
It's not a sport.
Curtis is giving out lots of leaflets to the cars that are stopping here at the stop point anyways.
It's not family fun.
So hopefully we'll get more people joining us at these actions or signing the petition or otherwise putting pressure on Golden Gate Fields to shut down, including posting about it.
Horses deserve respect.
Just like us.
Horses want to be free.
Just like us.
Horses can suffer.
Just like us.
Horses get bored.
Just like us.
Horses feel pain.
Just like us.
It's not entertainment.
It's violence.
It's not entertainment.
It's violence.
It's not family fun.
It's violence.
It's not family fun.
It's violence.
Golden Gate Fields.
Shut them down.
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 Golden Gate Fields.
I'm seeing some comments here about how equestrians love horses and how the quote-unquote owners of these horses love their horses. And while I think that sometimes that may be true, that people who love playing with horses and love to take care of horses or start taking care of horses as kids. Sorry, we have a little situation going on, so I'm just gonna walk over here. But yeah, I think that may be true in some cases, that people love horses, just like in the veterinary communities or veterinary profession. A lot of people become vets or go to vet school because they love animals, and then that industry teaches them to see animals in a different way, especially when vets are working for Animal Ag or a place like Golden Gate Fields. They start to see animals as, not just individuals whose lives are priceless, but as individuals who have a certain set market value for the company, for a company like Golden Gate Fields, like what earnings they can bring to their quote-unquote owner. And so while people might care about animals, that genuine care gets warped by the industry that puts profits over people.
It was really easy to see from the highway, so I know a lot of people saw it. And also, the whole time we've been here, even about a half hour earlier, Alex Centurio and Max and one other person, Eric, installed the big 100-foot long shut down Golden Gate Fields banner on the next bridge down. So everybody driving on the highway today has seen that message as well. And pretty soon we'll have a new bridge right across the road there that will be decorated all nice and pretty for this place. Okay, I'm going to pass it to someone to do speak outs. Would anyone like to do a speak out right now or a lead chance? Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
So earlier this week, I think it was, I don't really follow football closely, but a major player in one of the major teams, his name is Mar Hamlin, thank you. There was a horrible accident during a game, and CPR actually had to be performed on the spot, and he was rushed to the hospital. And play was stopped, and I don't follow football, but I heard a lot about it on social media. People were very upset, praying for him, sending their best wishes. Play was stopped during the game, and players were in tears. And everything was done to save his life, and he's alive now. And that's really good, obviously. But I was thinking, this happens all the time in horse racing. There are these horrific accidents, and the horses are just vanned off the track. And everything continues as though they don't matter. And if they're badly injured, they don't get the best care in the world like this NFL player is getting. They get killed. I'm not going to say they get euthanized, because that's something you do when you can't treat an illness and someone's just suffering and there's nothing you can do to help them. That's euthanasia. What happens to these horses is killing them. You could probably call it murder. Football players choose to play their sport. You could talk about the pressures on them and socioeconomic issues that influence who goes into athletics, and it's a complicated issue, but at least they have some free will. Horses don't have any choice. They're not there because they love to run. They're there to make money for individuals and companies. And when they get hurt, everyone on social media doesn't pray for them. No one really blinks an eye, and that is pure speciesism. It is just because they are not humans, and they aren't the few animals that we share our homes with, like dogs and cats, who might get a few more minutes on social media if they were badly hurt. This has got to change. Their lives matter, and running them until they are badly injured and then killing them is not something that a civilized society does. It is not entertainment.
It's violence.
It's not entertainment.
It's violence.
Golden Gate Field.
Shut them down.
Golden Gate Field.
Shut them down.
Golden Gate Field.
Shut it down.
So that was a really great point in that speak out from Tonya. I see some people agreeing with it, that when humans get injured, the way we react is very, very different from the way we react when horses get injured, and that is speciesism, and that's one of the big differences in this so-called sport. And if people still see it as a sport, as a game, I'd ask you to think about that some more and think about the differences in this so-called sport and sports where humans are consenting to run, like track and field, or where humans are consenting to expose themselves to danger and violence like football and other sports. So we are renaming these horses, if you didn't hear that already, the 15 horses who were killed in 2022, thanks to Golden Gate Fields. Most of them had horrible names. I think probably the nicest name one of them had was Beautiful Lavender. And even that is a thing, right? Lavender is just a plant, and they're mostly just named after things or objects, or given, well, things are objects, you know what I mean? Or just given very degrading names. And so part of what we're doing as our memorial today is renaming the horses with new names. And some people did that in their speak outs. We heard Jordan renamed one horse Camden, and Jacob renamed one horse Vivian, which means life, apparently. I learned that today. And I think that's really beautiful that we're able to give them names that represent things that they do deserve, like life and freedom, and to share those names on a forward-going basis when we do protest, memorializing them. And hopefully we'll get that message out to the press as well. We'll see. But hopefully you can help us share this message and get it out there more, at least on social media, by sharing it. Sharing the live stream. If you're sharing the live stream, please comment that you are so I can thank you. I do see a lot of people supporting, and that's really awesome. Thank you all for just tuning in and being part of the action online and helping us reach more people. But definitely sharing is great, as well as signing the petition to shut down Golden Gate Fields at dxe.io/shutdownggf. And if someone's doing that and typing it anyways, then maybe you could put it in the comments here so that other people can see that link, dxe.io, just like all of our short links, basically, dxe.io/chapters or meetup, events. Take your pick and just try something out, and you'll probably find something from one of the short links. But this one is dxe.io/shutdownggf. So check that out and sign that petition. And I'll show you everyone as they are redoing the names on these tombstones. Just taping over the gray color makes it pretty easy to just add some duct tape over it and put on new names. Oops.
Hello. Hi. If you have a tombstone and still need the new name, please come here.
So you can see on that tombstone that horse was named Desert Fog, which I really can't picture anyone calling their dog or cat or bunny or grandma or anyone Desert Fog. That's not really an endearing name. It's honestly kind of intimidating. Maybe that's the point. Maybe they were trying to make it seem like you should be scared of this individual. They're rolling in like a fog in the desert or something. I don't know. But the names were just very weird. Silver Lyric is being taped up now. That's another example. Or I don't think we would call our friends or family Silver Lyric. I don't think children would be named Silver Lyric. But we're giving them names that individuals would be named. The naming that we're doing for the horses right now is reminding me of a moment from the Smithfield trial in Utah last October, where I think Wayne was on the stand and he had finished questioning himself because he was a lawyer. He was his own lawyer in the case. He went pro se, meaning he was representing himself. And so he had finished, doing the question and answer of asking himself questions and answering them, which was kind of interesting. And he was then being cross-examined by the prosecutor. And the prosecutor was asking him about naming the piglets, Lily and Lizzie, the piglets who were rescued, the piglets in question in the Smithfield trial. And I don't remember exactly what she said. I'd have to rewatch the footage. But she said something like, "Why did you choose to name the pigs?" And Wayne just thought that was a weird question. Like, I've never been asked that before. And because to us, they're individuals and individuals deserve names. They should have names, something like that. And then she said, "And why did you give them human names?" And I really don't know where she was going with that. I don't know, is she trying to prove that animal rights activists are so extreme that they see pigs as humans and they treat them like humans and they, read to them at night from storybooks and try to, send them to preschool? Like, I really don't know where that was coming from. But, she asked, "Why did you name the piglets?" And then, "Well, why did you give them human names?" And Wayne really quickly just said, "I don't think that they're human names. I mean, I know that there are dogs and cats. Or maybe he said there probably are. He might not know them personally, but there are probably lots of dogs and cats and other animals named Lily and Lizzie in the United States and beyond." And it was a really funny moment in the trial. There were a lot of great moments, a lot of powerful responses that Wayne and others on the defense team gave. But I thought that was just such an interesting question to ask. People are often confused why we give animals names, apparently. But I think it's so powerful, even though when it's done for human children or dogs or cats, that sort of thing is just taken for granted. Like, of course we would give them a name because they're an individual. But in an industry where animals are not treated like individuals, in an industry like the horse racing industry, where they are literally bred to be raced, and they are broken through training, and then they're raced before their bones are even fully developed, and they're fed a specific diet for strength and racing, but not necessarily for their long-term health, and they're often drugged and all these things, right? They're just not treated like individuals. They're treated like machines. In that situation, it's kind of like asking, well, why would you name your machine? Why would you give them a real normal, quote, human name, even though, of course, they're not just human names? But I just find that really interesting, and it reminds me of the situation here at Golden Gate Fields, where I guess if someone was to name their horse Lily or Lizzie or Cassie, just some normal name that is just kind of like an individual name, people in the industry might think, what are you doing? Why are you giving them a, quote, human name, right? Because they're not human. They're not anything close to human. They're just objects, and we don't want to see them like humans. I think it helps disassociate and not see them as individuals and put them in a different bucket from people you might have to sympathize with and see them as products instead of sentient beings. When you don't give them a name, or when you give them a name that's like desert fog, right? They're the fog. They just roll in and roll out, and we don't have to really stop and think about the way that they might be suffering or their experiences or how they're similar to us in so many ways and all the ways that matter. It just really reminds me of that moment in the Smithfield trial, and I think it's really important and powerful that we give people names, not just the people in our lives that we rescue, that we foster or adopt, but also individuals who we meet in farms or who we see during vigils in slaughter trucks or who die here at Golden Gate Fields whose stories aren't being told. If we're going to go out there and tell their stories, then I think it's really powerful for us to give them names and to show the world that they're individuals. It's just my thought, and I think we're almost done here. Changing these names. I see Carla's put Francine on her tombstone, and Nav has Goga, and we have Oro, and Adrian. Are we going to cross now?
No. Do you wanna put this one?
Okay.
And now we're going to get a group photo with all the tombstones with the new names.
So tombstone folks, we get 3 tombstone folks who are okay with kneeling down.
Where?
Yeah, can you, give it a little bit to your right, Carla?
My right?
Yeah. I'll just let me get this one. Tombstone people kind of crowd around and I use the sign to slow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, stay in the crosswalk though, like not too far. So Liz, you're in the back, can you hold yours up? Okay, so someone go behind Nav and hold up. So you go, actually, Jake, can you
The protest is wrapping up shortly, so if people have any more questions or comments or anything that you'd like me to read, please put them in the comments now. I'll do my best to answer them. And if anybody else, it's not too late, if anybody else wants to share the live stream, then please share. And if you comment that you're sharing, it will help inspire other people to share.
Nice, thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna get the photo first. And then we'll get a video with Chan.
So you can see the new names that were given to all these horses who died here. Every tombstone represents a horse who was killed thanks to Golden Gate Fields horse racing track in Berkeley and Albany last year in 2022. And they've been in operation for decades, so many horses have died here. And we are continuing to fight them until the day that they shut down.
Yeah, thank you.
A day I hope is coming soon. Linda shared from the start. Thank you so much, Linda. Larissa also shared, always full support and shared. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Linda and Larissa, for sharing and helping us spread the word. We're getting more honks. I don't know if you can hear them, but we've been getting a lot of honks and support and even thumbs up out the window. And Tam also shared. Thank you so much, Tam. Yes, it is so sad what's happening here. It's really sad to be here. And normally when I'm here, I don't even see horses. And today I saw one being transported right past our protest, and that made it even more real and even more sad just to see the victims being transported who knows where with so little control, no control over what happens to them. But it's inspiring to see the consistency of people coming out to protest and more support from the public. Honestly, as time goes on, we're getting more and more honking and thumbs up and support, and we just have to find new creative ways to channel all that support into action and force the cities of Berkeley and Albany to do something about this and to shut this place down. Shiloh says, thank you all for being out there for the horses. Thank you, Shiloh. Kathy says, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks, everybody who's watching and supporting.
Thank you. And just, yeah, that's fine. And you can turn it on. Check. Okay, would anyone like to read the names? The names and dates? Jordan, you would like to? Okay, great. I'll take your spot.
hold your tombstones up high so I can see them. So we've got Omar, who was killed September 4th, 2022. And after I say, can you all say presente if you feel comfortable? Presente. Saya was killed. Is it Saya or Saya? Saya. Killed November 16th, 2022. Presente. Camden. Killed October 1st, 2022. Dennis. Killed January 7th, 22. Sophia. Killed May 20th, 2022. Goga. Killed November 25th, 2022. Cassandra. Killed May 30th, 2022. Vivian. Killed January 16th, 2022. Dick Song. Killed May 29th, 2022. Aro. Killed June 7th, 2022. Francine. Killed May 30th, 2022. Adrian. Killed December 6th, 2022. Prince. Killed June 17th, 2022. Wonder. Killed January 5th, 2022. Fred. Killed November 28th, 2022. And that's all we, I hope there's no more.
Thanks, Jordan.
Let's shut it down.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you, everybody, for being out here today. It really means a lot. Unfortunately, we'll be back. Every time someone dies, we do a protest here. So please be on the lookout for more announcements. We'll also try to schedule some in advance when someone hasn't just died, like today. That being an idea that we could do to help just get more people to come with advance notice. Today, I think the weather stopped a lot of people from coming, but turned out to not be that bad. So at this point, if you're driving anywhere, be sure to look at above. And I think it's down now. Alex took it down just now, but that banner was up there. They'll be on social media. And if anybody who would like to do the 5K with me, we got Amira. Okay.
All right, everybody.
So if you're in the 5K
yeah,
team,
we're just wrapping up.
Walk it or run it. I'm gonna walk it, so I'll be last place. So.
Let me get behind this speaker so it's a little easier to hear me. As usual, after these races, or after these actions, there are optional races, 5K races, right along the route that runs next to the track here of Golden Gate Fields. And people do those in solidarity with the horses, not because it's particularly comfortable, especially when it's cold out and rainy, but people do them because the horses have to race, and it's something small that we can do to be in solidarity with them. So, yeah, people are going to be running, and there's just announcements. Right now, we always do a debrief after our protests. If you all have any feedback on the protest from what you observed of it, please let us know. It's great to get more people's thoughts. If you have ideas for how we can keep the pressure on Golden Gate Fields, how we can get Berkeley and Albany to move faster and work harder at shutting them down, please let us know. But otherwise, just stay tuned, share the live stream if you haven't already. Thanks to everyone who has. And sign the petition at dxe.io/shutdownggf. And you'll hear more announcements down the road. I'm going to wrap up the live stream now. Thank you so much, everybody. And keep fighting for horses and all animals, including humans. All of us need a better world, safe, clean housing, and not places like this that exploit us.